guys! Alright, so I'm so freaking pumped for this video. I've been so excited to make it for like ages now. I don't know why I haven't done it earlier, but I'm going to be talking to you guys about backgrounds. This is going to be a part 1 video, so this one is purely just getting you guys interested in backgrounds and inspiration and talking about it and all that general stuff. And then in the next video I'm going to do next week or so is going to be about like making them happen, specifically about like perspectives and stuff. Most of this video you're not going to see my face. It's going to be a super cool PowerPoint presentation. I feel like a professor. But yeah, we are going to be going to that PowerPoint presentation right now. Okay, so just giving you guys a heads up. If you hear any like quiet whirring in the background, it's my computer fan. Yeah. Anyway, so we are talking today about backgrounds, and the first thing I want to talk to you guys about are bedrooms. People say that like the eyes are the windows to the soul, but I would argue that the bedrooms are much bigger windows to the soul, because a bedroom is really where a character's personality shines. Like, are they someone like this who is very careful with aesthetic, very clean, kind of inspired even, or are they super messy and cluttered? Like, taking a look at these two images, there's a lot of stuff going on. They look very lived in, you know, there's lots of things on the floor, but they look very distinct. You would not say that the same person lives in either one of these bedrooms. Like, think about when you're designing your character's bedroom, what is going to be on their floor? Is it going to be clothes? Is it going to be art supplies? What do they have hanging on the walls? Is it sparse, or is it covered in posters and family photos and other things like that? Like, I think bedrooms are a really great way to kind of get to know your character a little bit more, because what they decide to keep and show off or don't decide to show off in the room can really say a lot about them. And I'd argue it'll show a lot more about your character than just what they wear on a day-to-day basis. Like, the rooms tell a lot. As you can see in these two illustrations, they're both very small bedrooms. Both of them with lots of detail, lots of clutter, lots of personal items to kind of draw you in, but they are not the same in the slightest. Here we have Lois on the left with this girl, very 21st century. It's a very cute kind of boho sort of room, but it's also very cluttered, and you can kind of tell who she is from all of the stuff kind of hanging in the room. There's not like ginormous clues about maybe what she does for a living or something, but you just kind of like know her. Same thing with this dude on the right with Tanglefoot Comic. You can easily see that this is like 1920s, a much older time period. It's much more loud and aggressive and cluttered and chaotic. But you can still get a really good idea of who he is as a character and everything else going on like that. Like, these two are complete opposites in terms of living conditions, and you can say so much about these characters. Like, neither one of them see what I mean, the worrying. Neither one of them are wearing anything particularly like showy. They're both kind of in pajamas, but the rooms do plenty to tell you who they are as people. And then, of course, if you're really talking about like designed bedrooms, Howl's Moving Castle is hands down the winner for most detailed. You do not need your backgrounds to be this detailed, and I would hope to God that you don't do this much crazy, ridiculous detail in all of your illustrations, but there is something really nice about having backgrounds be really pretty and distinct and detailed, because even a simple little scene like this with simply designed characters makes you want to sit there and look at everything a lot longer. It's a really big treat for the eyes. And it doesn't have to just be bedrooms. Any room in a home can be personalized for that character. So for example, I've got a couple of kitchens here. Kitchens are usually like in basic illustrations. People just kind of show you the basics, like some cabinets, the sink, whatever. But even a kitchen can be designed. Like, two very different people use these kitchens, you can tell. Same thing here with these family rooms. Both of them are kind of cozy and plant life, but they're also very different, and you can really go crazy. Like, there's so many plants with the picture on the left, and the windows for the room on the right are enormous, and you don't see that usually. But there's nothing stopping you guys from really designing these places how you want. You are the artist, and hey, you can be an interior designer or architect if you want to be. Like, why not do these really cool, interesting designs if that's what you're into and if it fits your character? Same thing with bathrooms. Like, you wouldn't think that a bathroom would have to be designed nicely, but look at what Victor New Guy, oh god, look what he did in his illustration. Like, yeah, it's a bathroom, but it's a gorgeous bathroom. Like,
It's absolutely beautifully well done, and it really just makes the illustration look so rich and nice. There's nothing stopping you guys from, pushing things to their absolute limit. Same thing with exteriors. A lot of times I see in illustrations like buildings and houses and stuff outside, they'll just be kind of like painted gray or brown, something very industrial looking and boring and dull. But there's nothing stopping you guys from using lots of different color. Here we have the Palace of Winds, which is located in I think Dubai, India, somewhere in India, or this mosque in Istanbul. Really, really rich, saturated colors and beautiful designs. And same thing with interiors of places. Like here we have what I believe is like an opera house, and again, the interior of a mosque. You guys are the designers. Like, you can make them as elaborate or intense as you want. Something that I really think you guys shouldn't do is, let's say you have to draw like a movie theater or something. Don't just draw the first thought that comes to mind. Push it to what it can be. Think about the colors and the patterns and even the mosaics and how you can arrange the space. Oh, I think my cat's going to interrupt in the background. Oh boy. Also, nature is a really great place for you guys to explore different sort of looks. So we have like this really cool river, lake, whatever, forest thingy on the left, and on the right we have a scene from Song of the Sea, which is a really great movie you guys should watch. In this image, like, the characters are really, really small to the point where you almost can't see them. Like, you can barely see the boy in the boat in the foreground and the weird mystic spirit dude, I don't remember his name, who is in the middle. You can barely see these two guys, but it doesn't matter because the background is absolutely stunning. And you just want to like sit back and look at all the beautiful details. And even though you can't see the characters, you can get a really good idea of maybe what the story is about just from all these nice details. Like I was saying before with keeping your buildings interesting, you can have your illustrations of storefronts be colorful and cute or just kind of unique. Like, look at the bright blues and pinks in these two illustrations. Here are a couple of other illustrations for you guys. Spirit Drex on the left, she did a really cool design. Like, very, very simple, very small little character, not that important, but the real interest is in how she created the interior and exterior of this house. She was going for something kind of homey, like where she would want to be, and it's very successful. There's lots of little details, even though it's kind of, a small little illustration, but it looks really nice and cozy and inviting. And then Chiara Bautista above on the right, I think this illustration is extremely successful because of the background. So, like, not only is it cool how she's got like that floating heart frame around the character. I mean, the character herself is really, really gorgeous, but like, take a look at all the details in the background. My favorite is look at the shadow of the heart frame on the wall, and then look at the very intentional crack going down the wall, splitting the heart in half. That tells a lot about the story just in that detail alone. And you can really, like, your illustrations can tell so much more of the story if you're smart with them. And I think she was incredibly successful here. Movie backgrounds are really good sources of inspiration. I've been using a lot of like Tumblr and Instagram images for these slides, but if you take a look at, for example, Spirited Away, a Studio Ghibli movie, or The Triplets of Belleville, a movie by Chomei, there are both images of like streets or blocks of cities or whatever you want to call it. And you can tell they're two clearly different worlds, with Spirited Away being much more colorful, and sneak peek, and The Triplets of Belleville being much more golden and saturated in color. He was really trying to like push the Americanness of the image, and I wonder what that was. So yeah, you can really take things to their extremes. Here we have an illustration by Kirsten Rothbart, who I think is a really great artist for comic book artists to look at. So if you're someone who draws a lot of panels, or if you're a comic book artist, you might not want to do detailed backgrounds because, they're difficult. You have to draw them multiple times for multiple panels. But see how, even though her background of this trailer park is really, really detailed, she doesn't stick to just kind of one perspective. She bounces it around, and she makes it simple enough that it's not too chaotic and ridiculous. It's just a really nice image. And then next to hers is another illustration by Victor Nugai. Lots of really rich detail, and the character is very small and very simple, but that's okay because there's so much world building going on. You can really tell a lot of story using the backgrounds, and you don't have to worry about trying to push tons of story into character design. So here's another example of how simple characters with rich backgrounds can tell a lot of story. Aftergani is both. Oh, I did that again. Aftergani for both of these images. I would argue that a really like richly designed background with simple characters placed in them tells a lot more story than if you had a really, really over-designed character that was in a very plain background. Because an over-designed character in a very like ultra simplistic, vague background just looks out of place and you can't figure out what's going on. There's only so much story you can stuff into a costume design or a hairstyle before things just kind of start getting a little weird looking and stupid. But a background you can go crazy with, and you know, it's completely fine. You can still, it's still understandable, and you can still have a lot of story. Back to the whole like point about comics, these pages are really, really well done. I think, you know, it's a simple color palette and simple characters, but the backgrounds really, really are amazing. I mean, just look at that street view, for example. It would be really tempting for the artist to just do a very, very basic perspective of a street with very plain looking buildings and no kind of details, but she really, or he, Libertaker, went the full mile. There's the cafe sign, there's, you know, the bike lane, there's the tiny little like signs in the storefront windows, there's really unique kind of architecture, like, you know, you can really do a lot of world building and still, and not have it look like a fantasy art. You can tell this is perfectly contemporary, but it just is a really, really nice look. And then the last artist I have to show for you guys is Mima Sprout. She does these really beautiful, like, kind of storybook fantasy illustrations. And I just want you to look at, for example, the character on the right, that fox dog, whatever. Sorry. Imagine if she had drawn that character, but she had put him on a really, just like a plain purple background. Or maybe the background was purple, but there were like some plants in it, and that was kind of it. If the background was super simple, it would still look nice, and it would still kind of look interesting because, hey, it's an animal reading a book. I mean, there's something there to it. But the fact that she put so much detail into this like cozy kind of study, like this cove of information in the woods, I mean, it's just so much more interesting, and it really makes you kind of see more of a story, even if you're not really sure what it is. And it's just really, really a great treat for the eyes. So something I just really want to emphasize to you guys is your backgrounds can do so much for your story. It can do so much for your characters and tell so much. And I think they're a very underutilized like aspect of art, or just at least it's something that you should focus on more in your art. The best advice I ever heard was from some artist I read years and years and years ago saying, treat your backgrounds like you treat your characters, because like if you treat them with as much attention to detail and care and love, you not only are going to get really great results from it, but it's going to be fun for you guys to do. It's not going to feel like a chore or like you're putting so much time and effort into it, or like you're wasting your time doing it. No, 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 no. You will have a lot of fun making these amazing illustrations, and really give them a shot. I think they're really awesome, and people should be using them more. Yeah.
Back again to my face. I hope that was inspirational for you guys, and I hope you kind of understand where I'm coming from with all this stuff. You definitely need to work on your backgrounds. If you're someone who just has pages and pages of your sketchbook with like a character and a plain white background, you are missing out on something truly, truly special in illustration. So like I said before, next week or so, whenever I get free time, I'm going to be making another video on perspectives, because that is by far the number one thing that makes backgrounds difficult, is you can't get away from perspectives, really. But I'm going to try my darndest to make it as simplified and good as possible. We'll see what happens. If you have any questions for me, you can always ask me. And if you like this video, please give it a like, because more likes means it just pops up more on YouTube and people see it more, and then it gets more views, and I become a very happy and satisfied individual. And if you really, really like my videos, you can always subscribe to my channel too. I'm also on Instagram and Tumblr, and all you have to do is check me out, Biana Bova for each one of them, and of course there's links in the description for you guys to check it. And yeah, I think that's everything, so I hope you're having an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!